Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be discussing the Fabelmans, and as usual, let's just get right into it. Also, I'm trying something different today with the hat, so let me know what you think. I'm not really a hat person, so tell me if it looks alright. So as you know, as always, gotta bring out the trusty notebook, and I'm keeping the googly eyes on it. It's too cute not to keep. And so we'll get into the basic facts of the Fabelmans. The Fabelmans came out in winter 2022, written and directed by Steven Spielberg. Tony Kushner did help with writing. It was made on a budget of $40 million and stars Gabriel LaBelle, Paul Dano, Michelle Williams, and Seth Rogen. Its ratings are 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb and 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. As always, I will link my Letterboxd review in the description, and I'll keep my rating a secret till the end to keep you guys on your toes. Haha. So the basic plot of this movie is just Sammy Fabelman comes of age and learns that he wants to be a filmmaker and learns what it means to make it in the film industry as a young person. What I want to talk about, first of all, is the overall story. I'm not a big Spielberg girly myself. I haven't seen that many of his movies, which is kind of a failing on my part. Of the ones I have seen, I haven't liked them very much. I am not a big Jaws fan just because it gives me a headache, and I think it's way too long. And this movie was good? I know I say that like with a question mark at the end of my sentence. It was good, but there were moments when I was taken out of that movie. What I want to talk about first is the overall story. I liked the story. I thought it was solid all the way through, but that it was a little slow in the first half and could have been cut down a little bit so it wasn't quite 3 hours, but it didn't feel 3 hours long, which was good. But the story really picks up after Judd Hirsch's character comes in, and oh my god, I wish we had gotten another hour of his character. Uncle Boris, I believe is his name. Mwah! Perfect, 10 out of 10. It is so funny to me that he was in that movie for maybe 10 minutes and he got an Oscar nomination. And honestly, I hope he wins. Like, I need to go look over who else is in that category, but it's deserved, his nomination. Because, oh my gosh, I was hooked. Me and my friend Danny, who you will see later in this video, agreed that he was just the best part and we deserved so much more. And after he comes in, the story really picks up, so good job Judd Hirsch / Uncle Boris for being the catalyst for the rest of the story. It made it so I didn't get bored. But the big thing I want to talk about with the Fabelmans is the acting. And that's like the biggest thing going into it. I read a couple reviews before I saw it because I didn't think I was going to see it because, once again, I'm not a Spielberg girl. But a bunch of my friends were going to see it, so I decided to go with them. And the acting, in parts, it was great. But in parts, it was Disney Channel. The little sisters, they were cute, but their acting was so overdone and so Disney Channel. I had a very hard time watching them without being taken out of the movie and thinking about what was being said to them to make them act that way. I wish that we had gotten to see a little bit more of their characters. I know we see more of Reggie, who was my favorite sister, later on during, spoiler, the divorce scenes. But that's only a couple of minutes. And while I do like that she called out that there aren't that many female characters in his movies, in this movie, there still aren't very many. And though there are maybe 4 or 5 big speaking parts, they still don't get very important dialogue. So moving on to Paul Dano's character, I think it was a very interesting choice to cast him. He does not seem old enough to play a dad, even though I know he has children of his own. He's just so funny looking. I'm sorry, any Paul Dano lovers out there. He's just such a moonchild. It's very weird to see him in the role of like a very serious character. But he did a fantastic job with what he was given. He delivered a couple lines really oddly, and I don't know what that was about. Sammy did as well, but it doesn't really matter. But overall, I think he did a good job with what he was given. I really liked the actor who played Sammy. I think Gabriel LaBelle has a big career ahead of him. I think he was fantastic. He played the character with a lot of emotion. And what I really liked about the character of Sammy is that he wasn't perfect. Because sometimes when you're writing something about yourself, you forget to include that you have flaws. I know that I have done this in the past when writing characters, because I tend to insert myself into the narrative and then I forget that, you know, I'm not a perfect person. It's the Leo in me. But yeah, I liked that Sammy wasn't always nice and wasn't always a good person, and that he had to make some mistakes and hurt some people's feelings and learn from that to grow as a person. I really liked that Seth Rogen was playing himself. That cracked me up. Like, I know he wasn't playing himself, but all of his characters are kind of similar. And what's his name? Uncle Ben, I think, was just like classic Seth Rogen character, and I liked how supportive he was of Sammy and his dreams. So now on to the big part of my criticism of the movie. Every review I read said, "Oh, Michelle Williams is a powerhouse. Oh, this is her best performance to date." I could not stand her. Oh my god. She was like the definition of a manic pixie dream girl who never grew up. And I was watching this TikTok a couple weeks ago, and it was like, men can't handle manic pixie dream girls because they just move on and move past them. And she is like a manic pixie dream girl, but she doesn't have enough passion for her own dreams to ever break out of that. And so she's just quirky and cute, and I could not stand her. She did not act like a mother. She acted like a little kid. I thought her acting was very overwrought, and I had a really hard time watching her without cringing, which I feel really bad saying because I love Michelle Williams. Dawson's Creek, let's go. But I feel like she could have had so much more depth, and she just didn't. She, I think, did the very best she could have done with what she was given, but what she was given wasn't enough to create a complex character. But she did not make herself likable. And so it just kind of falls flat for me. So now I'm going to hand over the video to two of my friends, William and Noah Sanchez. They're going to discuss what they thought of the movie, and then I'll be back. Hope you enjoy them.
Hi Delia's channel, I'm Danny, big fan, very grateful to be on the show, and I'm here to talk about The Fabelmans, which I was very honored to go see with my other two co-hosts in this video. I guess I'm not a co-host because Delia really is the host of the show. I guess I'm just a special guest. So the special guest and the host, we're gonna talk about it. Overall, I think the movie was fine. I didn't like it as much as Noah, but I think it's impossible for me to like it as much as Noah, so that's fine. I thought it was pretty good. There were a few things that I was disappointed by, but you know, it's a movie. Always gonna be disappointing stuff. So let's jump into it. Things that I liked. I thought the acting was pretty solid for most of the people. Paul Dano and the kid who played Teenage Sam, don't know his name, I wasn't familiar with him. They were both really good, really realistic. I thought that the guy who played Teenage Sam was really, like, representative of a teenage boy, you know, doesn't really know what he's gonna do in life. That sounded mean. I mean, like, representative of a teenage boy who doesn't know what he wants to do and it just feels kind of lost in life. I sort of related to it, and I thought that he was very representative of that and very good. The colors and the set design and the costumes were all very pretty. They very much gave off the 50s, 60s vibe that it's set in and it's going for. I feel like a lot of films that do like period pieces are very like overblown with how they capture the 50s and 60s to the point that it's like sort of like the parody of it that movies will use. And so I thought that it was very realistic, very good, and looked very pretty. I enjoyed a lot of the plot aspects, and I thought it was very classic, you know, coming of age. It felt like how your teenage years feel. You know, there's a lot of stops and starts, backs and forths, and there's sometimes nothing happening, and there's sometimes a lot of stuff happening. and it really captured that overarching time period of years. A lot of the characters were really interesting. I especially love Uncle Boris, which Delia probably already brought up. We both really loved him. He was really funny. I was sad he was only in 2 scenes, but he was a very pivotal character and very interesting, and I imagine that he was based on someone who was actually in Spielberg's life. I also liked Sam's girlfriend. I thought that she would just sort of be like a one-off, like, funny character, but she actually ended up being a very important character and someone that I really enjoyed watching. She was very mature, she was very interesting, very much liked her. Also, David Lynch cameo. I am wearing the Twin Peaks shirt. I really love David Lynch. I thought he was so funny, and he was very interesting. And now before I get into the things I didn't like, I want to say I do like Spielberg. You see my Jaws poster in the back. You've probably been looking at it for a while now. I like Spielberg. I like his movies. There were a few things that I were disappointed in this film, though. First of all, I thought the plot felt kind of aimless. I know that I said that it really captured the feeling of growing up, but it didn't really feel like there was that much like that natural like rise to a climax sort of thing. I don't know. I didn't really enjoy how the plot progressed. I felt that it was like really slow and didn't really make sense where it was going. I also find films that are about the power of cinema kind of trite, because like I know that Steven Spielberg believes that. I know the people who produce this movie believe that cinema is really powerful because they work every day in cinema, and it's just sort of like blowing their own horn, being like, what I do is amazing. What I do is the best thing ever in the world. And it's like, I know that you think that. Like, the Academy is going to be so impressed when they watch the movie, and they're going to give it a bunch of awards because it captures their own job. It's relatable to them. And I just feel like it's just very just like trite, kind of annoying. I don't know. I don't really appreciate films that are just about how awesome cinema is, because I know. I thought that Sam's mom was like kind of horrible, and the narrative kept trying to just like justify what she was doing. I somewhat imagine that she's based on Steven Spielberg's own mom. I don't really know. But the narrative kept trying to justify what she was doing, and she kept explaining over and over why she was doing what she was doing, and I never once like felt sorry for her or felt bad for her or understood her really. I don't know. Like, you're leaving Paul Dano for a man you've never had sex with? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Some of the acting decisions were really odd. Like, there was this one time where the bully character says to, like, his co-bully, like, he's like really close up in the camera, he says, "Cool it." And I lost my mind at that line. It's not even supposed to be funny. Like, it was just like the acting was so awkward and weird. And there were a lot of other scenes like that where it just like wasn't supposed to be funny, but the line read made it like really weird. Like, for most of the movie, the acting was fine, but there were just a few like line reads, especially from Michelle Williams and the bully guy, that were like so weird and like not good. They were funny, but they weren't supposed to be. The monkey was only in 2 scenes, and I was kind of disappointed that the monkey would be in it more, and that was kind of sad. I wanted more monkey. And finally, if I didn't know it was a Spielberg biopic, I would have been so confused, especially by the ending. I would have been like, okay, so like what happens after that? Like, I do know that it's a Spielberg biopic, like somewhat autobiographical from him, but it was just like kind of confusing if I hadn't known. Like, it's kind of self-indulgent on his part, and yeah, I wouldn't have really been able to track the story very well. But in conclusion, I thought the film was fine. I know I focused a little bit more on stuff that I didn't like, but I thought it was pretty good. You know, I'd probably watch it again someday. Probably watch it with my parents. They'd probably like it. I was disappointed by a few aspects, but you know, sue me. So back to Delia or Noah. I got a 50-50 shot. Something's gonna happen. Okay, bye guys.
Hello, viewers of Delia Does Reviews. My name is Noah Sanchez, better yet known as Filmhouse Productions. Should go subscribe to my channel. Sorry, Delia, I had to, and you know that I was probably going to, so. Anyways, today I will be discussing my thoughts on Steven Spielberg's latest film, The Fabelmans. Now, I loved this movie so much. There's not much else that I can really say about it than just describing that it is great and that I loved it, and just other adjectives to describe something in a very positive way. But I will go into a few of the details in the film. So the story. I loved the story so much. Obviously, going into this, I knew it was a semi-biopic about Steven Spielberg's life. So I already knew that this was probably going to be a very relatable film. And it was, in the aspect of both Sammy Fabelman wanting to be a filmmaker, like this yearn for the passion that he has to just make movies. I found that very relatable. But also in the troubles in life aspect, there were just so many that I'm sure a lot of people could relate to. Even if it wasn't all of them, there was probably something that someone was just like, I get that. I understand what that is like. And that happened a lot for me. And overall, I just thought the story was amazing. So, obviously, Steven Spielberg film. And as a Steven Spielberg fanatic, I absolutely loved the directing in this. I thought he did a phenomenal job with it. I had recently found out that he shows up to set early and maps out how he wants to do specific scenes with his camera. He does not make storyboards. He does it the day of, and I think that is so cool. So going to see this my second time and third, I was paying very close attention to how he directed it, and he just does a phenomenal job. There are so many great shots in it. I don't really know what else to say there. It's just, I thought he did such an amazing job with just everything there. The acting in it, I thought, was great. Paul Dano playing Bert Fabelman does a phenomenal job. It sucks, though, that he was in this, because now I will never be able to watch another Paul Dano movie without thinking he is a dad. He just is meant to play a dad, because he does a great job playing a father. Michelle Williams playing Mitzi Fabelman does amazing. She portrays a mother with mental health illnesses so well, and I just thought she was phenomenal in it. Newcomer Gabriel LaBelle does an amazing job portraying Steven Spielberg as a child, teen, all that stuff. I think he did a great job, and he is probably what made me connect to the film so well. Just seeing someone that age, I guess, in that film, living all these things, I just thought he did such a great job. The same goes for his three sisters, mostly the two, because the third one was rather young, so she didn't get as much screen time. But the two older sisters, I thought, did a great job. I forget the actress's name who played her, but the second sister, I thought she did an amazing job, particularly in the scene at the end when Paul Dano and Michelle Williams tell them that they're getting a divorce, and the way that she just gets up and is like screaming at her mother and crying and like trying to hold back these tears, but is just so angry, filled with rage, and yet so sad. I just thought she did such a phenomenal job there. Judd Hirsch, he's in this for a very, very short amount of time, but he does a great job too. I thought his scene was amazing. He really captured the way that people who want to do something in the arts, I suppose, feel when they're so passionate about what they want to do. Where it's just like family and the art, it's going to tear you in two. Just that whole scene, I just thought it was amazing, very relatable. Of course, of all the actors that was in the film, I thought my favorite one was famous director David Lynch playing famous director John Ford. And I just thought that was an amazing casting choice. For one, why get an actor to play a director when you can get another director to play a director? I just thought that was so funny that he was in it. But two, after seeing the film, I looked up a picture of John Ford from the 60s, and I thought the casting was just amazing. David Lynch looked spot on for the role. He looked just like John Ford, and I thought that was great casting on their part. The same goes for Paul Dano and Michelle Williams. Seeing a side-by-side of what Steven Spielberg's parents actually looked like in real life compared to what they looked like in the film, it's just, they did such a great job with the makeup, hairstyling, and just the casting choice in general. So overall, I thought the film was just amazing. I loved it so much. I cannot wait to watch it again for a fourth time. I'm really happy that this was a film that was made and that Steven Spielberg, of all people, was the one to make it. It was truly just an amazing film for me. So that's the end of my review. So
overall, I gave The Fabelmans a 3.5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd, and you can go and read my review. As usual, it's pretty much exactly what I say here. I liked the movie. I'm glad it didn't feel like it was 3 hours long, and I probably will watch more Steven Spielberg movies to see if I can get into him a little bit more. But as of right now, I am not his biggest fan, but it's okay. That's all I have about The Fabelmans. Thank you so much to Danny and Noah for submitting videos to be a part of this. And thank you for taking me to the movie. I'll be back soon with more videos. I'm trying to work my way through the Oscar noms, so hopefully more videos in the next 6 weeks. Thank you all so much. Have a good day.